It shows it's like always this. So let's see who jumps in here. There's always that first moment of awkward silence when no one's in. 0 people are in. You're like, oh God, no one likes me. Then they jump in. There you go. Who's here? All right, we are in with Yonatan, and we are in with. Hey everyone. Yael, how you doing? You're sitting in the next room. So we are meerkatting now a live video interview here. We're doing a video podcast, and on the other side, meerkatting. This is totally mad. And we are doing a video podcast here at WeWork. We got whiskey, we got Red Bull, we got my laptop, we got the team.
Hey.
And we're going to be discussing competition and startups. So just so you know, guys, we have 17 people here now, or 17 people altogether. And so we're going to be talking the importance of competition, competitive analysis, just in general, the entire area of competition and how important it is for you to have competition, contrary to what many startups think, that it's their worst enemy, it's their best friend. It's my opinion anyway. I don't really know what they're, really what we're going to talk about, but that's the topic, competition. So I'm going to give someone else my phone, Daria, my phone, who's runs marketing for The Pulse, cool company, check them out. And 20 people, nice. Okay, so I won't be able to answer questions, obviously, because we're going to be video recording.
Maybe if I can see them, I can shoot them your way.
What do you mean, are you going to ask me questions when they're recording?
Yeah.
No.
Come on, we're not that casual.
Yeah.
Whiskey
well,
and
we'll
Red
see
Bull.
after some more whiskey.
Oh, by the way, when I said, just so you understand, if you're outside of Israel, whiskey, we're talking whiskey Red Bull. It is 10:08 in the morning, a.m. in the morning. Yeah, you heard that right. So this is going to be interesting, but it will be fun. So I'm going to give Daria my phone right now, and I will not be able to answer questions now, but I will get back to your tweets afterwards. So with no further ado, peace. Just switch the camera around there.
Okay, but we want to look at you. I'm seeing
facing
myself.
you, right? So
Right.
There you go.
There we have it.
Okay.
All right. So just before I start the intro, I want to get a good question going. I've got a couple of questions here written down about competition. First one is like, what do you say to a startup that says to you, we have no competition, etc.? Do you like that question?
Oh, yeah.
Is that a good question to
That's,
start with?
I was telling Daria before, I literally this morning when I'm here, I spoke about this for like a half an hour. It's definitely very passionate about it. I'm going to give you some good answers.
Fantastic. So just a word of warning in the beginning is that in order for it to edit well and look good and be interesting for viewers afterwards, we need to have it like 2-minute answers. Or doesn't even matter how long the answer is. It needs to be like a package. You can't ramble, like stay on topic for that question, but then make it funny and kill it. As well. So all the pressure's entirely on you. So I'm introducing you as a tech blogger, as CMO of Zula, and meerkat extraordinaire.
All right, and please, Joe, don't read the question.
I'm not going to read the question.
Look at him and ask the question, because
I know it's not easy to look at my face because it's not a pretty sight, but what are you going to do?
So this is how I interview normally.
The beauty.
What do you say?
The beauty is in the blind. Joe, let's go. Come on.
Okay, so first shot, everyone. First shot of whiskey. Take a sip of your whiskeys.
Hey,
We're getting started here.
Fine.
All right.
L'chaim.
Cheers.
Chag Shavuot Sameach.
That is disgusting. It's actually not disgusting. By instinct I say it's disgusting, actually not disgusting.
This is the best we provide.
I'm going to open this on air once we start recording. So we didn't start recording, did we?
Oh, it's been recording for a while.
Oh, yeah.
We're not. This is part of the show? Oh, it could be.
Yeah, could be.
Edit that out.
All right.
Okay. All right. Welcome today. I'm here with Hillel Fult, CMO. See, this is why we have to start again. So I'm saying CMO Tech Blogger. Welcome, everybody. Welcome today. I'm here with Hillel Fult of Zula. It's going to take time. This is why I don't like the meerkat.
It's all good, guys.
Putting me off.
This is Meerkat Gold. What are you talking about?
How many people are there? How many people are in my meerkat?
That's exactly what.
Sorry.
How many people are there?
How many people? All right, here we have, 29 people.
Cool.
29 people are watching me not speak English.
Okay, let's do it again.
It's not like you.
Wait, we need a thing. We have a thing. Take two.
Take two.
Take two.
אתה מה זה בפריים אגב? כאילו, לא משנה. תחליט.
English people, English.
Okay.
I'm here.
Oh, sorry.
Let's do it.
Alright. Okay. Welcome. Today I'm here with Hillel Fult, CMO of Zula, and he is also a tech blogger and meerkat extraordinaire. So you guys can watch this later or watch it on Meerkat right now. And this is only for the meerkat people. If you live near an internet, you can find a meerkat. I'm not sure how it works.
It's live streaming. I do want to commend you for pronouncing my name correctly. That's very impressive stuff.
Hillel Fult?
Yeah, most people are.
Fold?
People, very good job.
Okay, fantastic. Fist pump. Yes, I'm not American, but I can do that. I was taught.
It's an emoticon.
I have learned
now.
your
It's
ways.
become like a thing. You know?
Okay, fantastic. So, Hillel Full, CMO of Zula, tech blogger, and meerkat extraordinaire. So, we're talking today about competition and startups,
Right.
right? So, I heard recently that this is a passionate topic for you.
A little bit.
So, it's going to get steamy, feisty.
It is indeed.
All right. So, I think the first question is, what do you do when someone comes up to you and says, listen, I'm a startup, I have no competition?
I get up and leave the meeting. No, I'm just kidding. No, but really, I mean, that to me is a clear sign that whoever I'm sitting with is not a very serious individual, honestly, because if you have no competition, there are really two options. A, you don't know your competition, or B, you really have no competition, in which case go home because there's no market for what you're doing, honestly. If no one else is doing it, then there's something wrong. Startups in general, I think, view competition as their worst enemy. It really is their best friend, right? It's the best form of validation that someone else is doing what you're doing. And just generally, the definition of competition is also, I think, misunderstood. Anybody that's going after the same audience, anybody that's pitching the same thing, anybody that's solving the same need or fixing the same pain is your competition. I don't care if they're doing the same thing as you or not. There is no such thing as I have no competitors. No such thing. And I was just saying earlier today, as far as I'm concerned, every startup needs to map out their landscape and include 50 companies. Find 50 companies that are competitors. They can be direct, indirect, or totally indirect, but they're in your universe. Find 50 companies that are doing what you're doing. There's always competition.
Okay, that's fantastic. But then what happens when sorry. One second, that's great. Yeah, the sound is a bit.
So just a little bit more to again.
You doing it again? That question?
No, it's
No, that was great.
Okay.
And then we just chop and then starts when it starts again. That was really good. But what I wanted to say is, okay, so what you just said about having competition, that's a little bit counterintuitive because the concept of the startup world, or at least for people who don't actually work in the startup world, they think it's someone who's breaking into a new innovative sector, who's coming up with a new novel idea, that's doing something creative. It's not counterintuitive to work there?
What did Instagram do differently?
Okay, so it's a share. I also, yeah, it's a
What did Facebook do differently? What did Apple do differently? Right? Apple wasn't first, Facebook wasn't first, Instagram was far from first, but they just did it better. So I completely disagree with that definition. Anybody that thinks that a startup means you're the first person to do it is sorely mistaken. I think that's a very big mistake to make. And on the contrary, I think it's a very healthy thing to have a lot of competition. The more competition, as far as I'm concerned, where I work at Zula, we're always competitive analysis day in, day out. When there's a new competitor, we're happy to bring it. It's for us the best form of validation, really.
All right, fantastic. Okay, now I need to.
Okay, so you want to be asking about, okay, I realize I do have competition. What do I do? How do I not freak out? What's the next stage?
Mm-hmm.
Should I want to make sure that when I open my Excel on the air that we're actually not going to cut out that part. 'Cause
Yes.
It's very dramatic.
Very important.
My hair's
Well,
been
let me
blowing.
tell you something.
Let me tell you something, son. Alright, so let's say I do have competition.
I'm going to grab a drink if you don't mind. Is that okay?
Go for it.
All right. I'm going to open this in slow motion so you didn't hear it. Okay, great.
That's a crappy competition to Red Bull, right? Oh, we're not allowed to say that on air.
Yeah, you were saying?
Product placement. Okay.
It's backwards. You don't see anything. Anyway, go on.
Okay, so let's say I do have competition. Should I be scared? What's the first thing I should be doing?
Again, there's no let's say. You have competition. Let's just start with that. That's the premise. You have competition, guaranteed 100%. And what you need to do right now is know that competition like the back of your hand. Like I said, find 50 companies that are doing what you're doing, that are not doing what you're doing, that are in the space, in your universe. Study them. Do competitive analysis. Go on Twitter and search for their mention. Anybody that mentions their name, what are they saying about them? Do they love them? Do they hate them? Why do they love them? Why do they hate them? What are they missing? What are they doing well? And this is going to help you with product development because you don't want to be doing the exact same thing everyone else is doing. So it'll maybe help you, adapt a little bit and pivot a little bit on the one hand, and it'll also help you know what is the market saying, right? I'll give you an example. So if you're in the messaging space, a lot of people for years and years complained about the fact that WhatsApp didn't have a web app. So that means people want a web app. So I know we were all about mobile first. We're like, no, people want a web app, right? So it's something you can learn from the market, and it's all about competitive analysis. I would say literally spend a month, study your competition, know who's out there, know how you're different than if you are different, and just know them like the back of your hand.
Okay, I'll tell you what's scary for me about that is that it's not like the car world where you can easily choose between 1 of 10 car brands, and then it's great. I think in the startup world, what people feel is that there's room for only one competitor. Not one competitor, but one leader. Like there's only room for Facebook. Google doesn't have a competitor.
Once again,
What's Bing, something like that?
Are you kidding me right now?
I'm joking, no.
You scared me.
But
He's a beast. All right, so again, very common misconception. A perfect example is Meerkat and Periscope, right? Who's going to win Meerkat and Periscope? It's like enough of this already. Who's going to win? Facebook or Twitter. There's room for both. Who's going to win, iOS or Android? Room for both. It's not one winner takes all. It almost
Comparing Facebook and Twitter aren't the same thing. They're different sectors in terms of like
100%, which brings me back to my original point. Competition means we're going after the same mind share. Facebook and Twitter aren't the same platform, but absolutely in terms of mind share, there's X amount of time I'm going to spend on social. Am I going to go to Facebook? Am I going to go to Twitter? Am I going to Google Plus, Instagram, Pinterest? So these are all competitors, absolutely. And the answer is there's no one winner takes all. It's not a sum-zero game. You can have more than one winner in a space, and it's generally speaking, with very few exceptions, there's always more than one winner. There's Lyft, there's Uber, there's like you said, search, Google, Bing. There's room for more than one, and so competition is the healthiest thing you can hope for as a startup.
okay, yeah, that's true. I mean, you've been doing marketing for a very long time and very successfully. How do you deal with the situation when you do have a strong competitor? When you're getting into a saturated market, you have someone that's kind of already got that edge in, foot in the door. What can you think of?
So there's a lot of ways you can kind of differentiate or elevate your brand. It's not always about necessarily traction. So again, I'm going to take my use case, right? My case study, I guess you could say. In messaging, there's Slack, which is a beast, and they're cannibalizing the market. Are we nervous about it? No, we're watching them closely, like many other players in the messaging space. We're learning from them many things, but we're also learning the disadvantages of our competitors. And without getting into obviously too many details, but the point is, know your competitors, know the winners, know the losers, and adapt. Adapt to the market. And so I don't think it's people. I hear it every day. I have no competitors, and they think that's like a selling point. You go to a VC, you say I have no competitors. That's like the end of the meeting. Honestly, it just shows that you're not a very serious and professional individual.
Yeah.
That's what it means, I think, to any investor. And so I always say, before you come to a VC, before you do anything, do your research, know who's in your space, know the space like the back of your hand. So when a VC or whoever asks you, who are your competitors, your answer should be, oh really? No problem. And start puking out 50. That will impress anyone, right? And the question of who are your competitors, they don't really want to know who your competitors. VC doesn't need you to show them your competitive analysis and how much revenue this one. They want to know, are you a serious dude? Like, did you do your research? Do you know who's out there? And doing research is the foundation of everything.
Okay. I did my research on this interview and came knowing everything about you.
There you go. Boom.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so the next question is should be about how. How do you find the competition? Like technically, where are the 3 best places you should go to find out who your competition is? So we'll be able, Joel, to make best
How many
3.
people are there, by the way? Curious.
Last time I checked, 74.
See that?
Wow.
Peace. Love you guys.
74
Thank you.
people.
74 people who want to know what are the 3 places you go to find out who your competition is. Where do you look? You can't just, go out to the street and shout, okay, so
With my competition.
who's my competition?
Okay.
Klein. 10 o'clock in the morning, whiskey. I don't believe I'm doing this. Okay.
Alright, so I actually like the concept of how competitors can collaborate, but first we're going to find out where competitors, like where are you going to find your competitors? First you need to identify them, get that analysis on them.
So definitely a very important part of the research, and before you do anything else, do that. So how do you find competitors? The obvious answer is Google, right? Whatever it is you're doing, Google your butt off. Like spend a week Googling, honestly. Searching. When I say Googling, it's the kind of like the iPod of the search, right? iPod means music player, so Google means search. Use Bing, use whatever it is you're using, search. Do a lot of searching. Twitter is a very powerful platform as a search platform. People think of it as like a sales and broadcast platform, but get on Twitter, search for keywords, search for messaging apps, search for names of your competitors that you already might know before. What do people think about them? But use Twitter as a search platform, very, very important. And I would say at the end of the day, whether it's TechCrunch or other tech blogs, read about your industry, read from the leading publications, from leading influencers in your industry. What are people talking about, right? And so that's the best way to find, obviously, if you're in a certain space, I would say spend a lot of your time consuming content about that space.
Okay, so basically what you just said to me is, let me Google that for you.com.
Greatest website on the internet.
Possibly the best thing in existence. What's actually really more interesting is how can competitors collaborate? How can they work together? Is it worth working together? What are the situations?
Great question. So, sorry, I'm not a big fan of self-promotion, but I'm going to talk about Zula because it's my universe. So in Zula, one of the things we did a long time ago, not so long ago, like a year ago, was we did a conference.
I'm sorry, this whiskey is horrible. I'm pouring your Excel into it.
Friends.
I haven't even had
Close
coffee
enough
yet. We're sharing an Excel and I
That's
haven't
okay.
even had coffee yet this morning.
So like a year ago, we did a conference. We hosted a conference in New York called the Zula Summit. And it was the day after one of our competitors raised like $100 million. And at the conference, naturally, when we were talking about the messaging space, that competitor was brought up left and right. And people were looking at me like, dude, you just hosted a conference, you're giving a speech to your competitor. And I'm like, absolutely bring it. Like, this is what's going on in the space. People came here not to talk about us, but to talk about the industry. So by all means, and one of the things we do in terms of competitive analysis is we use Flipboard. We curate a magazine about our space. And it's full, it's the 800 articles in there, full of our competitors. So in theory, we're giving a stage to our competitors, but at the end of the day, you can't, it's not like the olden days, like I have my restaurant and I can't go near, no, there's ways to collaborate. And tomorrow I'm meeting a competitor for coffee, honestly. I think it's healthy. If you're a direct competitor...
I mean, it sounds like you're articulating a need that people don't even know they have maybe, or you're advertising a solution for a need that people, or for a pain that people are feeling. Like, let's say the restaurant thing, everyone knows they need to eat, so they need a restaurant. But let's say people didn't know that they have the opportunity to go to restaurants, then you would like to collaborate with other restaurants to say that there are restaurants out there. So, like in the case of Zula and other web messaging platforms.
For sure. I mean, you guys are a productivity.
Yeah,
we're a communication thing.
We still meet people every single day. These massive companies and people are communicating through email.
I'm actually having coffee tomorrow with one of our quote-unquote competitors. They're actually one of your competitors. We're not going to talk about it now. They acquired a company that's a competitor of ours. Seriously, I kid you not. Meeting for coffee tomorrow. Who knows? I don't know where it's going to lead me. It will lead nowhere. It'll lead to meeting a smart person. I'm a big fan of meeting smart people, but I definitely don't think you have to block off the world. No, absolutely not. You should be communicating with competitors on Twitter. Zula, we're buddies with like CodeTap and Slack. We're always communicating, joking around with them, and it's good. It's a good way to have relationships.
I mean, listen, the fact that people still use emails to communicate within their company means that there's a long way for you guys to go. You guys should just make a lot of noise together.
WhatsApp and Dropbox and Google Drive and Skype and the list goes on.
It's crazy.
Don't get me started.
All right.
It's a crazy thing. Crazy world.
I have a question.
Oh, you have a question?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, do you know of could you give an example of a famous case or something of, big players that competitors that collaborated and what came out of it?
Interesting question.
I need to ask the question.
You need to ask
Yeah, Joe, let's ask the question.
I might want to give me a second to think about that, though, so I need to give a good example of such a thing. I mean, yeah, I have a good example. Bing and Yahoo.
Here you go. Okay, so ask the question. Wait.
So when big competitors collaborate?
Yeah.
All right. So, great question from the crowd is that have you ever had an experience of or do you know of a case where two massive competitors ended up collaborating and did something great?
Well, I mean, first of all, in general, there's the concept of an API, right? I mean, Meerkat, for an example, is using the API of Twitter, and Twitter owns Periscope, and there's a whole debate about whether you should do that or not do that, but there's the big, huge example is obviously Bing and Yahoo they were competing on search, and then they kind of not merged, no one bought anyone, but they're using, I think, Bing is using Yahoo search. So, there's always room, if you could figure out a way to make it work, to leverage each other's strengths and kind of build together,
Okay. All right.
Do you want to take a look at your...
I do.
Is that it?
Huh?
No.
That's not it.
No.
We have lots of things to talk about. First of all, think of a funny story and we can put it in anywhere.
Why did my Meerkat go audio only when I have 9 people?
We can talk about
Why does it do that? Why does it go audio only?
9 people, that's the most
Are
we've
you on
ever
Wi-Fi?
had.
Are you on Wi-Fi or 4?
No, you're...
I'm on
Oh.
Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi here is amazing. You can't do it now.
It switches.
I don't know. We can talk about the parrot story if you guys want to talk about the drone story. That was a good
Oh,
story.
yes.
Great story.
Yeah, we can do
I
that.
love that company.
Talk about
God damn it, I went to their...
amazing company.
I saw them in France in the Science Museum.
Amazing.
They had the headquarters.
Hey, we're back on.
How many people are here, by the way?
You have
506.
yeah, 98, and I have 10.
Sweet.
So together, 108.
Sweet.
Oh.
All right. So yeah, let's talk. Do it.
All right. How do I get into the parrot story?
So you've been on the web a long time, and give me some cool stories that have happened to you. I don't know.
You can ask him about starting.
I know you're basically like a rock star. I want to know. I want to know what the life of a famous Twitterer is.
Twitterer. Listen, at the end of the day, whether it's Twitter or other platforms, amazing things have happened to me and other people on the web. That's the truth. And I'll just give you one example. I'll give you 2 examples actually. And unfortunately, a lot of my followers, I don't like that word. Follow. A lot of people that engage with me on the social web heard these stories, but they're cool stories nonetheless. I'm sitting in my house in this small town in Israel a few years ago, and minding my own business, and I get a push notification saying Alyssa Milano has followed you. I'm like, what? Alyssa Milano from Who's the Boss? She's a huge geek, awesome actress, just an awesome person who I followed on Twitter for a long time. Huge geek, millions of followers.
Really?
And I'm like, what? It's so strange. So I go into Twitter and I'm like, is this really her? And I click on it, sure enough, it's her. So I DM'd her, I direct messaged her, basically like, WTF, how did that happen, So she's like, listen, in my Twitter feed, day in and day out. I keep seeing retweet Hills Full, retweet Hills Full. Somebody keeps retweeting your blog post every single day. And I'm like, who's this Hills Full guy? So I clicked on your bio, and it's like, oh, you have a funny bio, you seem kind of cute and witty, whatever. Nice picture. I was like, yeah, I'll follow the guy. And since then, like, she's actually, there was a company that once sent me like a press release, and I tweeted it, and she retweeted me. Their entire server crashed. They launched their company from one tweet because she retweeted me, honestly. So it's just amazing that you can connect with anyone on Twitter. But that's just a cool story from back in the day.
That is out of this world.
Yes,
that
we
is
see
so
here the
cool.
next one. The next one's
If
amazing.
you live near an internet, you can find him on Twitter at Hillsful.
Hillsful, yeah. So
Which
just
is
recently, one of the most amazing things that ever happened to me is that literally 2 weeks ago, I'm sitting here in the other room talking to some entrepreneurs who's starting a new Kickstarter campaign for a drone startup. I was like, always like, drones were like always in the back of my head. I was never really into it, but like, I knew it was like a geeky thing, so I knew at one point I'd have to get into it. But then I heard what he's doing, I'm like, I gotta get myself a drone. This is amazing, right? So I literally, that day, I went home, I stopped off in Bug, an electronics store, and I took a picture of the AR drone, Parrot AR drone, and I tweeted it, and I wrote, I want a drone. 40 minutes later, Parrot DM'd me, and they said, yours is on the way. I said, what do you mean? They sent me a $500 drone, well, wait, it gets better, with the Parrot Zeek headphones, which are also $400. And they didn't ask me for anything. They didn't like say, you have to review, you have to tweet about us. It was just amazing, but then it gets better. Fast forward 2 weeks, and they email me, and they're like, so how you liking the drone? I've been shooting footage and tweeting about it nonstop, and they're like, so how you liking it? I'm like, I'm loving it, whatever. And then I'm like, should I say to them the things that I don't love about it? Should I be honest? I was like, you know what, I'll be honest. I was like, listen, I love it, but I'm having some issues with the Wi-Fi disconnecting, and I'm having some issues with this, and I'm having a few things. But like, no worries. And I'm like, oh, and one more thing. There's the Sky Controller, which enables you to fly your drone 2 kilometers away, which they didn't send me, and that gives you like the full experience. And I'm like, I would love to try that one day. Maybe I'll go buy it. They're like, done. They sent me a $1,000 package, a brand new drone with the Sky Controller, right, to keep.
So now you have 2 drones.
So I sent back the old one, and I'm keeping the Sky Controller and the brand new drone. It's unfreaking. I've been flying it. It takes ridiculous footage, 1080p footage, and it's fisheye. It's unbelievable. And yeah, they didn't ask for anything. And I just, what does that do? Again, we're talking about marketing. What does that do to me? It's like I wasn't a droney before. Now I am. Where I would never give my money to anyone else besides Parrot. Like they just acquired me as a lifelong customer because of the fact that they listened, they heard me, and they acted. Again, listen. I know what people are thinking. Oh, it's a PR movie, a lot of followers. That's true, but I don't care about the fact that they sent it to me. I care that they even heard me. They're a huge company, right? The fact that they even listened and they heard is what's amazing. I think that startups and companies really have a lot to learn from that experience and many others that have happened on Twitter over the years.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, I flew there, flew everything and drove everything they have in the Science Museum in France, in Paris, and it was like, it is the best thing I've ever driven. That little thing with the wheels that jumps.
Called Spider, right?
Yeah, I can't remember the name. But it is the best user experience I've ever had, driving, flying.
Their Zeek headphones are ridiculous.
I've
Super
never
premium build, and like they feel amazing. Bluetooth, so they're not like, I wouldn't say they're maybe as high-end sound as some of the wired headphones, but they're amazing. Unbelievable.
Cool. Most overrated thing in the world is Beats headphone.
Yeah, I've never even tried. Anyway.
Horrifies me, it's like. Alright, let's get a new question. We're doing really well here.
Are we? Cool.
This is great.
And you can hold your liquor. I'm very impressed.
Very little. What are we up to over there?
We already have 116 here, and I'm contributing my 14
Awesome.
to the game.
Go, girl. I'm sure there are questions there I'll have to answer afterwards.
Probably, yeah,
I'll
because
answer afterwards, people. I'm not going to ignore it, but I just can't
I'm
honestly
gonna
answer
have
it.
Maybe we can do a
hold it
Q&A,
like
live
that to
Q&A
read the
session.
question.
Yeah.
You have to scroll, so you won't be able to do it now, whatever.
How is it to be an Orthodox startupist?
It's the best. What do you mean? It's the best. I mean, Israel, man. It's a non-issue, by the way. Honestly, to answer that question, honestly, it's a complete non-issue. It's not. It doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. I don't think anybody sees this thing. I don't know. What do you guys think? Does this affect how you think of me? Honestly, tell me the honest truth. Does this have like, cause prejudice or like cause?
Not for me, because
Do you think other people it does?
grew up in that society. But
I've never felt in any way. The only thing I just this week was invited to a hackathon to speak with some crazy rock stars, and I couldn't go because it was on Shabbat. I was really upset about that, but I would never obviously do that. But that's pretty much the only time it's ever whatever. And then they said to me, "All right, can you come on Friday?" And for me, Friday is like my family day, so I said no to that too. It's a really amazing opportunity, but rarely have I missed anything because of Shabbat, and it doesn't affect. I mean, I sign off every week for 25 hours, so I have my FOMO, fear of missing out. But besides that, it doesn't affect me at all. I use Nuzzle to catch up. By the way, it's an amazing app to catch up on stuff.
Which?
Nuzzle.
Nuzzle?
It's an iOS app that you can configure the time and say, catch me up in the last 48 hours, catch me up in the last 2 weeks if you want. Go away on vacation, it just catches you up. It's really cool.
Really?
Yeah. Based on your social graph. Like 20 people shared this article. It must be relevant to you, so read this first.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Gonna try it today.
That's all. Cool article.
Okay.
Made great investors also.
Okay.
No affiliation. Just
Alright. So
I had 2 of these today, man. You can't blame me for my ADD, all right?
this is fantastic. I'm loving it. I'm having a really good time.
Sweet.
Okay, let's pretend I'm a startup, and I discover someone else is doing the same thing I'm doing, and they have funding to really. No, let's start that again. Okay, let's say I discover someone. I'm a startup. I'm building a company, building an idea, creating an idea, and I discover someone's doing exactly the same thing as me. Should I be deterred? What if I discover they're already further ahead than I am? They've got funding.
You should throw a party.
Throw a party?
I kid you not. Someone said to me last week, I can't remember who it was right now, someone called their lawyer because a company ripped them off, blatantly ripped them off. Their lawyer came with champagne. Like, you have reached greatness. Like, if you're being copied, you're being ripped off, you have accomplished something. Absolutely should not deter you. I mean, again, if no one's doing what you're doing, then you're doing something wrong. Honestly. Show me a company that's doing Uber, $50 billion company. There's Lyft, there's rarely any companies that are doing something hot that no one else is doing. You know, I mean, it doesn't really exist as far as I know. Really, very rare occasions that something is so out of the box and crazy unique. But if no one's doing what you're doing, then there's no market as far as I'm concerned. So absolutely shouldn't deter you.
Okay,
Encourage you.
like, do you have an example of when 2 companies started off the same? They either took half of the market each, or they went different
Again,
ways?
with us as well, I mean, Slack is cannibalizing the market, eating up the market right now. Right? $2.8 billion company, 750,000 paying customers.
Okay.
You know, so we launched way before that. We launched Disrupt 2013. We won the Audience Choice Award, and we launched on stage, and we got amazing funding. It was awesome. Everything was like a picnic in the park. It was amazing. Then boom, Stuart Butterfield wakes up in the morning, and he's like, all right, we're doing Slack. And I was like, oh my God. he's taken over. But at the end of the day, so you say, all right, so he's going after tech companies with his integrations, and fantastic. My hat's off to him.
Yeah.
I don't mean that sarcastically. You know, so what about, law firms? What about my mom who uses WhatsApp and can't share a file? What about other teams, millions of teams across the world that aren't going to use integrations with Asana and other things, but they need to communicate like it's 2015, not 1985. So there's enough, room for all of us to coexist, and that's fine.
That's awesome. I wasn't going to get into this at all because I'm very, very well acquainted with Slack. We just integrated with them yesterday. DePaul's just integrated with Slack through Zapier, and it's been really big for us. And we don't see them as competition at all. We're completely, people use Slack out here.
You guys are complimentary with that.
The most complimentary thing ever. So that's really fantastic for us. I thought it would be like a painful topic for you because they really have taken over the market.
Nothing's a painful topic
in such a horrific fashion.
Would your mom use Slack?
My mum would not use Slack. So what?
Would a law firm use Slack?
Okay, so basically, well, this is great. So you guys started off together in the same.
No, we were way ahead of them.
Okay, you were ahead of them, but you started off like looking to conquer the same market. Now somehow they've taken the entire market because the guy already was a billionaire and was already.
That's not why, but okay. Another topic for another time.
I think they're a brilliant product as well.
It's a great
and
product.
I think you guys are a fantastic product.
And Stuart Butterfield's the founder of Flickr. The guys that come from the name, and Andreessen Horowitz invested in them, and on and on and on.
Many things. Okay. Many things involved, but they took over the market. So you're kind of looking for a different market to take over, or a niche market. How are you trying to do it?
I don't know if it's like that. I don't think we ever defined ourselves as a niche, as a tech product. For the tech teams of the world. I think that by definition, because you have 300 integrations available, that's their real secret sauce. Their integrations. They are by definition targeting tech teams, and we were never targeting tech teams. So it's not like we said Slack is winning, so we're going sideways. I think maybe we were targeting a wider audience, including the tech teams, and we're like, okay. Enjoy Slack, take that, we'll go here. So we kind of like narrow our
So
target.
where have you moved your marketing?
So what kind of target audience? So
yeah,
we're very much focused on mainstream professional teams, and in our video I define what is a team. A team used to be, we're sitting in the same, at Intel.com or at whatever, Qualcomm.com, we're sitting on a little cubicle, and that's a team. But that's clearly not the definition of a team today. A team today is if I want to if I want to buy a new suit. So I'm onboarding Daria because she's a fashion expert, right? I'm onboarding someone from Twitter because he knows fashion. I'm onboarding someone from LinkedIn. I'm creating my own team. It's not an organic team. It's a dynamic team right now that I'm creating to accomplish a task and then gone, finished. I don't need them anymore. Need them, right? I don't need to sound like that, but I don't. The team tomorrow is irrelevant. Okay. So it's a dynamic thing that I'm creating right now with a common goal. So that's not the way many of the platforms out there that attack team communication are wired. Many of them, you need the same domain. Right? So I can't even invite you to a team unless we're both at whatever.com. So I think that's a very different definition than the way it used to be. And so we're kind of building in Zula, I hate the word. I don't need to like self.
Yeah.
But
No,
in
go
Zula,
for it.
you can create a team in three clicks. You're in a team, and now you can invite members. So, for example, Slack.
If you were Slack, it would be boring, but because you're the underdog, I think it's pretty cool.
We're beyond the underdog. Slack, you cannot invite a member. This is like
Yeah. You can't
Now-
minus members on Slack?
you cannot invite a member to your team on Slack from mobile, which is crazy. It's a $2.8 billion company. I want to add someone to my freaking team. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a different philosophy, I think.
Okay, but that's a technical feature which they could do tomorrow. If that was a make or break, they would have done it already.
No, I don't think it's not. That's the outcome. That's the symptom. I think it's a different philosophy. I think they're talking about real teams, organic teams. Right now, we're a team. We need to communicate. We need to use the same integrations in our development environment. We need to work as a team. We're like, right now I need to decide what kind of flowers to get my wife, and I know nothing about flowers. I'm going to onboard my Twitter follower who I like. I'm going to onboard my Facebook friend who I think is good taste. I'm going to onboard my mom from SMS.
Okay.
And I'm going to create this team, accomplish my task through a conference call, by the way, another differentiator, file sharing, conference call, everything we need to do, and then boom, the team is gone. It never existed.
So then you're moving towards like WhatsApp. Why would I not use WhatsApp for that? It would be less friction, easy to adopt.
Except you can't share a file, which every team needs.
Okay.
I mean, that's just one differentiator. It's, again, maybe they'll add file sharing, but I think WhatsApp is very much, I think that they've stated many times, they're targeting consumers, they're not targeting professionals.
Sure.
Even though that line is also blurring. But at the end of the day, if I'm a law firm, I use WhatsApp with my friends to share funny stories. I'm not really using it for professional environment. In theory, you could. There was actually an article yesterday that came out how to use WhatsApp in your professional environment. You could. You could use anything for anything, but I think it wasn't wired for that. It's not its core, and clear indication of that is that you can't share a file, which is crazy. People actually snap pictures of a PDF to share it on WhatsApp, which is absurd. Let's just be honest, it's absurd.
Yeah.
So and they added VoIP now, so you make a phone call. I don't think you can do conference calls.
Okay.
Just take conference calls.
Conference
Conference calls is the biggest pain in the butt. We're in 2015. Why do I need to add bridges and dial-in numbers? And it's like, oh my god, one tap and Zoom.
Okay, if you want to create a new startup, webinar software, everything out there is the worst thing in the world. If you want to make a new webinar software for me, please, I will be your first customer.
A lot of pain points out there that need to be solved. I think that one of the main, we're totally going off topic, but it's fun.
Yeah.
We're having a good time. One of the main pain points I think we all experience is business cards. When someone asks me if I have a business card, I'm like, dude, come on, really? It's 2015. Business card, like, I'm not going to say Google my name because that sounds like pretentious, but like, Google me.
You just have my name, yeah.
It's just like,
You know what company I work for, you
Yeah.
know my name.
Business cards, like everybody, many have tried to disrupt that, the bump and many others. I
Right.
think that it's early. I don't think anybody's really, succeeded in disrupting that and accomplishing anything. I think we're all still dependent on business cards, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
I was listening to what you said, but I got distracted by the vagina of
Oh my god, there are
Airbnb
children
logo.
watching people. Yeah, that's Airbnb.
They
Yeah,
really have
Airbnb.
a phallic symbol
Yeah,
as
I have to fix
their
that.
icon.
But look at some interesting companies here.
You've got Yo, I know
Are
Yo.
you following Yo? Do you know what they're doing now?
I'm not following it. I
What are they
interviewed,
doing now?
Oh
What
my
are they up
God.
to?
I interviewed
Financial-
Ayala Knopf for Blonde 2.0 last week, and they did the PR for Yo, and they made it
Yes.
massive.
A year ago, I think yesterday, they introduced Yo to Scoblo for the first time. But Yo is actually, I think, a brilliant example, honestly, of a company that I want to tell you, I was the most vocal on the internet about Yo in the beginning. I was like, oh my god, that's the dumbest idea. And they got all the press because it was the dumbest idea. But now,
Yeah.
it's brilliant.
What is it doing?
Brilliant. Now they have something called the Yo Store. You go in, you could choose a category, and you subscribe. So for example, I could subscribe to, Product Hunt. Every time a product goes viral on Product Hunt, I get a Yo. I click on it and it opens up that product. Every time an article goes viral on TechCrunch, I get a Yo. Every time it's going to rain within the hour in a place that I'm in right now, I get a Yo. I can subscribe to anything.
Okay, that actually sounds brilliant.
Dude, it's
That
on my
sounds
home screen. I
brilliant.
live in Yo. Are you kidding me? I love it.
I'm signing up to Yo.
I don't use it as a messaging app, but I love it. It has so much utility in my life. I freaking love it, I'm telling you.
Okay.
Does
what
it work
else?
like? Do you decide? Does it work like IFT? Like you decided?
It's very similar to If. You can decide, there's hundreds, if not thousands of things you can subscribe to in various categories, and it's really great. Really great. Yeah, I
Stand
love
a
it.
little there. I'm very scared of the camera.
Oh, sorry.
That's alright.
I'm inside the frame.
Yeah, no, scared.
How is that even? I just wonder how GoPro works. How could it possibly capture her? I
Okay.
just-
Because
It has
it's like this
170
huge, wide
I know. but
fish
how?
eyes.
It hasn't even like
Like technically,
it has-
technically possible that that's in here and you're there. How?
It has
The lens,
170
the lens,
degree.
the lens.
the lenses.
GoPro
Yeah.
is such an awesome company.
Let's get geeky for a second. It has a 170 degree eye angle. We have like 110, 20 degrees as humans. Cats have 170 degrees.
That's wild.
So that, I mean, I
Amazing
don't
company.
like
And they
cats.
still get hit by
What's the
cars.
difference?
They are, if there's any company that I like have wet dreams over, it's them. If there's any company that I would have like loved
What's the
to
difference between
have-
Hero 3 and Hero 4? Just in 2 seconds, kind of. You know the difference?
No, the difference. I mean, there's the
Between
4K.
what and what?
The Hero 3 and the Hero 4.
Oh,
There's the
no,
difference
I
between the
don't.
silver and the black. Black Black is 4K.
Remote.
Silver shoots in 1080.
Oh, so this is 1080?
Full 1080. This is full 1080. Oh, the remote's an extra. You can get the remote for everything.
I gotta look into the Hero 4. I think I'm gonna get one. Not that I don't do sports, so it doesn't really matter for me. But I just, I need everything.
Really impressed. I mean, for travel, it's the best thing. It just fits in your pocket. You can take everything. Now, more for videos. I don't like the photo on it so much, but the
drone
videos.
it's amazing video sounds kind of
Yeah.
like a pro. All right. Anyway.
Okay,
Alright.
I wanna just for just 1 second. I love what's going on here, but I do want to refocus on the competition thing because there's one thing like, okay, you reach the point where you have to differentiate yourselves. What are like 3 off-the-shelf techniques to differentiate yourself? Like which directions you could go to?
I mean,
Alright.
okay, we can try that. Let's
Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions that
Like like saying go vertical. This company is doing everyone you go vertical or
Yeah, so that's
like
the
stuff
Apple
like
model
that.
with MacBooks. They were like designers, and then it expanded. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So like, what are 3 go-to techniques to differentiate
Okay, we can
yourself?
talk about that. Let's go. Let's
Okay.
let me ask you if there's So let me ask you if you. I'm gonna like try to put it so we can actually edit it. So we need to have a bit of a break and a pause. Okay, we're good. So do you have any questions that you would want me to ask you? Like, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you want to talk about? You think that if you're in my position, you want me to ask you?
I mean, there's always the question of what do you do? What are the steps in order to I have an idea. What do I do now? How do I build the startup? And competition, I think it's competitive analysis is literally the first thing you should do before you do anything. Literally before you send someone a message saying I have an idea for a startup that's going to be the next $1 billion. I just generally speaking think you should have a little humility if you have just an idea. But before you even send that message, do competitive analysis. Know who's out there, because otherwise you sound like a fool. Honestly, you sound like a fool. But what's next, right? Once you mapped out the competition. Let's say you even differentiated based on what's
That's
out
not a
there.
question. I asked you if you have a question that I can ask you.
Right, so I'm
I'm joking.
No. So the answer to your question, if I have a question, is
Sorry, you gotta get back. Sorry. Otherwise, it's gonna be like hands in the thing.
I think,
sorry.
kind of like the obvious question that I hear from people.
Sorry, really sorry. We have to start again.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's alright.
It's all good.
Apologize, man.
No, it's fine. No worries.
And I was just joking before. I'm really bad with jokes. So the only way
I'm not that sensitive.
the only humor I have is to insult people.
Are your hands not killing? Are your arms not killing you?
He's starting to. You're starting
Strong
to.
How many people are there, by the way?
Okay, so you have 159.
Jeez.
Oh, and I've grown to 25.
Oh, you are
Cool.
hot stuff.
I think you maybe taking from Hillel.
Okay, are you on
eating up his
Periscope or
followers.
WeChat?
I'm here. How to do Periscope?
Okay. If you guys are on Hillel, you can find Daria at
Darshu,
and you can watch it through Darshu instead.
DARSHU. All right, yeah. So let's go on.
Okay, so if we're so basically we've talked a lot already. You've given me fantastic insights. Are there any questions that you would want me to ask you, like that you would want to ask yourself if you were the interviewer right now?
So the big question is, people say, all right, I have a great idea for a startup. All right, now what? How do I build this? People send me that message on Facebook Messenger. Like, I'm going to answer them how to build a startup on Facebook Messenger. It's like such a silly question among many other questions. So I think once you do that competitive analysis, you map out your competitors, know who's out there, know how you're different, know what everyone's doing, know the size of the size of the companies, everything about that. What do you do next? And the answer is you really need to zone in on kind of like your story, whether it's in the format of a deck, format of one page, or whatever it is you need to for yourself, not for anyone else yet. First and foremost, what's the pain you're trying to solve? How are you going to solve it? Why are you able to solve it? And the other questions, but the golden rule. So I think the question that I want you to ask me, what's the golden rule in building a startup? Go ask me.
Okay, what's the golden rule in building a startup?
I'll tell you, I thought you'd never ask. All right, so the golden rule, I have one golden rule that I tell startups all the time, and this really does apply to anyone, and that is, and you're Australian, so you might not get the reference, but you guys will, I hope, is you need a home run. What do I mean you need a home run? What I mean is as follows. Whether or not you go to a VC or a blogger, whatever it is you're doing, whoever you're pitching your startup to, if everything is just triples, everything's good, everything's great, but nothing's wow, you're gonna have a very hard time. So what do I mean? I mean that if you show me your app, and I don't even care what it does, but it is beautiful. It is the most beautifully designed thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, you got me, right? That's your home run. I'm not saying I'm gonna give you a check right now, but I am saying that the road to that check is a lot quicker and easier. But let's say you don't have a great product, but let's say fine, I launched my product, I show it to you, and you're like, it's okay. You're like, no problem. I launched last month, and I have 5 million active users. Like, whoa, right? Your traction is your home run. Something. Let's say I don't have a great product, I don't have traction, right? No problem. The guy who built Gmail just joined my team as CTO. It's like, wow, your team's your home. I'm going to invest in your team. Let's say you don't have a product, you don't have traction, you don't have a team. No problem. And Andreessen Horowitz invested in us. Whoa, your investor, boom, home run. I don't have a product, I don't have traction, I don't have a team, I don't have investors. I'm going after this market, whatever market it is, that's been the same for 50 years, zero disruption, zero innovation. The size of the market is $500 billion. There's 3 players in the market, no one's winning. Your market's your home run, right? Something has to be a home run. If everything's just triples, and I don't know if you know baseball, if everything's just good, nothing's wow, you're gonna have a very hard time.
Triples means like 3 instead of 4.
Right, so you have
Okay.
a single. Right.
Yeah, I'm joking.
So the point is, you need something that's like your home run. And so as a startup founder, I think once you do that competitive analysis, you need to sit and seriously discuss with your team, or with yourself, or with your wife. What is my home run? Why are people going to go nuts about this? What I'm building right now? Let's say Uber, the founder, right? So I know Benchmark when they met him, they're like, this guy is a home run, right? Other companies, I don't know what was Facebook's home run. I have no idea, but I know that many investors that I know would say now that if they met Zuckerberg in the beginning, they're like, all right, I don't know, I don't get it. I probably wouldn't invest in this. I met with some amazing companies out there without mentioning names that I didn't believe they were going to scale, but the founder is a home run, right? So you have to figure out what is your home run and focus on that. Focus on, wow, there's a dog here. Focus on your home run and make sure everything else is good and in order. And if there's more than one home run, great, but you need one home run. Without one home run, you're going to have a very, very difficult time.
So you need that wow factor. You need to find what your wow factor is, and especially at the beginning when you can't put your efforts everywhere, you need to focus on one thing you're saying. Don't try to focus on everything at once.
Definitely need one home run. And just one other tip that I'm going to give in general about startups is, and this is a very common misconception, is people think you do marketing once you need those downloads. Like, I'm going to log into Facebook and be like, download my app, or like my page, or like, dude, stop. You should have done this 6 months ago, right? Build out that audience 6 months ago. Start writing content, start providing value, start building up your brand, start elevating your brand, so that when you need to acquire customers and you need those users, they're there. They're listening to you, they know you, they respect you. Once you need them, you missed the train. Now it's too late. You can't go on Facebook and be all over.
This is actually brilliant, and this is fantastic for people who are thinking of building their companies or starting their own companies, and even people who are already into build, like they've already got a finished product, is start building your following already. Start building people, like get your voice out there,
right,
even if it's not related to your product.
As far as I'm concerned, if you have endless resources, which no startup does, start building your audience 3 years in advance for all I care. You have an idea for a startup. I don't care if you're going to launch the startup 5 years from now. Right now is when you need to start building your audience, so that when you do launch, you flip that switch on launch, you have an engaged audience. They're there listening to you. Yeah. And then and to convert those people, that audience, into users is...
Oh no, well, what if I'm writing content about one thing and then I launch my startup in another field?
Well, that's a fundamental mistake. I don't mean you should write.
So you're saying I should know what my product should be and then target that market already.
The market. I don't mean you should write about. If you're selling Barbie dolls.
I should be writing the market. Okay, yeah, so the content I'm creating is in the market that I'm building.
Again, if you're selling Barbie dolls, don't write about ballet.
Okay.
Right. Write about dolls. Don't write about yourself for sure, and also don't write about Barbie dolls because that's super niche. A little bit, widen your hands a little bit. And write about that and own that space. Basically, become the leader in that space. Become the Google of that space. Whatever it is, whatever it is you're in, whatever it is you're doing, you clearly should be passionate about it. And if you're not, there's another problem. But if you're passionate about it, just start producing content, start building up that audience, and establishing your name. Really.
All right, great. I think this is a brilliant interview. I think we've come to the end. Unfortunately, I really want to keep talking to you, but I think otherwise we won't have any time left. But thank you so much.
Sure, thank you.
It's been great.
Thanks for having me.
And Hillel Fuld, CMO of Zula, and one of the most interesting people I've talked to in a very, very long time.
You heard that, Mom?
It's great. This is where we key the jazz music.
Right.
Key the jazz music.
Sweet.
Alright, great.
Thanks, guys.
We can run that ending again. I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll probably have to edit this out and then probably include it in the edit so it will actually be funny by me saying edit it out. Alright.
Where are we starting again from?
So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
This has
been a lot of fun.
One of the most interesting people I've talked to in a very, very long time.
Hear that, Mom?
Hillel Fuld, CMO of Zula, and fantastic marketer.
Thank you.
Actually, you might be the most famous Twitterer I've ever met in my life.
Oh, come on. No. I'm making me blush.
Okay, this is the awkward bit where we actually have to talk about stuff. So, keep the jazz music.
Right?
Alright, great.
Thank you, man. Alright, guys, thanks. Are we still on?
Okay, yeah, it's still on.
What's the one
Thank
that's
you
going on?
so
Do you like a live
much.
Q&A now?
This was
Okay, let me go
such
through the.
valuable
Whoa, that's a lot of comments. Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on one second. Hold on. That's not whiskey.
And-
That's not whiskey. What is it?
It is, of course.
It is.
What is it? It's not
Whiskey and Red Bull.
Scotch
Yeah.
with-
Anyway,
308
this
here.
was
Not whiskey because
Oslab,
it's too cheap.
with Hillel Fuld.
Hurry up and entertain me, damn it.
And
Be funny,
makes
awesome,
so
calm
much
down,
sense.
bold, and relaxed. Sweet, thank you. Hi from Washington, D.C. Hi, host is having some problems. Do I have to be Jewish to have a business in Israel? Absolutely not.
No.
You have to be talented and with a sense for business. So yeah, kinda. That's not so funny. Who wears a T-shirt to an interview? Sorry, dude. What the hell? Harsh, bro. Okay. See, any real questions? It's about execution. Who does it better? And of course, tastes and preferences. Product X may not be for 100% of the consumers. I am a Turkish. I hate your politicians. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
We probably hate them as well.
I hate politics in general. How is it to be an Orthodox startup? We talked about that. Okay, you are here. Ted Cruz is in the house. Okay. Is this guy Australian? Yes, he is. How to get points? I don't know what that means. Where else can we such this? Can we watch this? I'll be sharing it later on. Oh, we're at the end. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming in. 189 people. That was a lot of fun. And I will be sharing this later on through Catch and through. I'll just save it and whatever. So
Me too. And we have 33
Peace.
people here.
And we're
And-
Everyone.
putting out this
oh
interview.
yeah, this interview will be. Of course, we're doing an interview. Hello. Yeah, we're gonna be
Put
sharing
it out
this.
through everything.
All right, guys.
Hello, meerkatters.
Say goodbye.
Bye.
Say goodbye.